Hello, and welcome back to Mr. B Teaches History. Today we will examine the ways that the country tried to ensure equal rights for the freed slaves, blacks, and African Americans. While they were successful for a time during Reconstruction time period, after the military left and Reconstruction was over, many blacks faced increased discrimination by white supremacist democratic power structures in the southern states. But also some of these actions happened in northern states too. So let's get started. During the Civil War, General William Tecumseh Sherman issued Special Field Order No. 15, which gave freed blacks in the region he freed during his march to the sea 40 acres to work with as their own. It was largely supported by the U.S. government as a way for former slaves to earn their own way in the world. Unfortunately, President Andrew Johnson overturned the order and returned the land back to its original owners. It's possible that Lincoln would have done the same since his original plan did not include the confiscation of private property except for the freeing of slaves. 3 amendments were added to the U.S. Constitution as a result of the Civil War. Generally, they started out as laws, but the fear of courts overturning them made the radical Republicans in Congress propose amendments to protect them from the court's interference. The 13th Amendment forbade slavery and made it illegal except in cases of being convicted of a crime. The 14th Amendment did a large number of things like ensure former slaves and African Americans were considered citizens of the United States and had the same rights and privileges as white citizens. There are other provisions in it that deal with the situations related to the Civil War, like making sure Confederate states pay their war debts and forbidding traitors from holding public office. Lastly, the 15th Amendment, which gave blacks, former slaves, and African Americans the right to vote. There were a whole series of criminal laws passed by Congress to protect African American rights and from being targeted by the Ku Klux Klan. Many states and localities, though, failed or were reluctant to enforce these laws due to being members of the Klan or by not having enough strength to fight against them. In that vein, these laws allowed the federal government to intervene when the states did not protect these rights. It was only after the passage of the Third Act, or the Ku Klux Klan Act, that the laws were really enforced and people convicted of crimes under these laws. Unfortunately, the Supreme Court struck down some convictions under these laws since they were only meant to affect members of the state government, not private groups or individuals. Congress also passed several civil rights acts during the Reconstruction meant to give former slaves, blacks, and African Americans certain civil rights. The first in 1866 granted them American citizenship in an attempt to counter the black codes passed by the state governments in 1865. In 1875, they passed another bill, sometimes called the Enforcement or Force Act, that was meant to ensure equal treatment in all public accommodations, public transportation, and selection for jury duty. Congress also passed 2 acts to assist former black slaves to acclimate to life free from bondage. The Freedmen's Bureau provided food, housing, medical aid, schooling, and legal assistance. Though it never reached its full potential due to being underfunded and understaffed, its achievements varied also by location and agents. Those who worked for it were often harassed while they were trying to help blacks. It was dismantled by Congress in 1872 by in part because of pressure from white Southerners. Another group, called the Union League, spent time after the Civil War trying to help disenfranchised blacks into the Republican Party and would fight for their rights. The Ku Klux Klan was created as a response to these Union Leagues. Sharecropping was a method used by many former slaves to try and become self-sufficient members of society. They were tenants on a farmer's land, and their rent came from giving their landlord a share of their crop. Since many former slaves knew how to farm it, it made sense. Unfortunately, high interest rates on loans, unpredictable harvests, and unscrupulous landlords and merchants often kept them in virtual slavery. The laws also favored landlords and forbade them from selling their crop on the open market. If you have any questions, comments, concerns, or clarifications you would like to make about this lecture, please leave a comment below. If you learned something new, please consider leaving a like. If you would like to receive notifications of more content like this, please consider subscribing and ringing the notification bell. If you would like to support this channel and creator financially, please check out the links in the description for merchandise or sites that will provide me direct financial support for the work of this channel. Thank you for your time and have a great day. Class dismissed.